Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's up? How you doing? Welcome back to Get Over the Hump. Yep. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Listen, good people. Welcome back to Get Over the Hump, where we are here every Wednesday and Friday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern. And so excited. Um, Excited to be with you all this morning. As you all can see, I am on location. Uh, but here, we are here. We are here. So the first three questions is, did you bring somebody with you? Did you get us to three people? Where you tapping in from? Yep, yep. The first three questions. Did you bring somebody with you? Did you get us to three people? Where you tapping in from? Because remember, Get Over the Hump is a place where we bring leaders, entrepreneurs, professionals, influencers together to create the fresh perspective needed to give us that oomph to get to the other side. Yep, I see you, Seta. Queens, New York is in the building. Yep, we here. Every Wednesday, Friday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern. Super excited to see everybody who's here. DMV, I see you, Shakara. Yep, in the building. Yep, we here. So let's move to the next three questions. Y'all know it, the next three questions. Come on, RDU. Come on, Sam. We here. Yep, I see you, Tamaya. So let's move to the next three questions, right? What kind of week are you having? Are you having the kind of week that says, I'm a classic? I'm not worried about explaining myself to people who insist on seeing me through their own lens. I'm going to do what I do. I'm a classic. Or maybe it's what Shakara just put in the chat. Yep, my dopeness doesn't expire. Yep, because I'm on time, set to arrive in time, to impact the people I'm supposed to at the right time, so I can chill out, be present because what? Today has enough trouble of its own. My dopeness doesn't expire. Oh, we go. Number three is that what was in front of me was meant to what was meant to kill me gave me life. What was meant to destroy me developed me. Yeah. So what's in front of me doesn't stand a chance because what? I'm built for this. I'm built for the journey. I'm built for what's in front of me. Let's go get it. Yep. So we go. I see you, Seta. I'm a classic. I see you, Sam. I'm a classic. I see you, Mama. Yep. I'm built for this. Yep. Tamania, I see you. I'm built for this. Here's what I want people to understand is we go through this every Wednesday and Friday morning because the only thing you can control is your perspective. That's it. The only thing you control is your perspective. And when you can control your perspective, now you create the space in your mind that gives you the ability to be able to see possibilities instead of problems, where you can see opportunities instead of obstacles. And now you get a chance to allow for what you see in your mind to ultimately become the reality of your life. So, listen, we are here, good people. And I just got a thought that I just want to kind of continue to build upon a different angle. We've been talking about this idea of the plus sum. Yeah, we're talking about this idea called the plus sum. And for those who are not familiar, this idea of the plus sum stems from, I believe it's Ephesians, where the scripture says that he will do exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ask, think, or imagine according to the power that worketh within us. Yep, he will do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask, think, or imagine. Almost exceeding. Yep. So whatever it is that you conceive in your mind, plus some. Whatever it is that you've done that's been great, plus some. Whatever it is that you've been happy about, plus some. It's plus some. It is a space. It is a promised land. It is an area of transformation. It is an area where miracles happen. It is an area in which we can believe and know that we will find destiny and purpose. That's the plus sum. And we've been talking about different ways in which we miss getting into the plus sum and all those different spaces. And so we talked about the other day with the impromptu live, about purpose, excellence, and achievement. But today I wanted to spend a little bit of time here on this angle. Good morning, CJ. This angle of getting ourselves into this plus sum space. And one of the things you have to watch out when getting into the plus sum space is you got to watch out for this very thing that many of us navigate. It's the very thing that actually kept the children of Israel from walking into the promised land for 40 years. Shakar, you so funny. It was Friday. Ma'am, stop tripping. You bug it. Um, you always think you're missing out. Ma'am, you're not missing out. Cut it out. Anyway, it is the very space in which happened where Moses sends out 12, two come back and say yes, the other 10 say no, we can't do it. Yep, it is in that space where we have to be careful. We have to have what I say, there's a warning, so to speak. This may be considered to be a PSA. What are we trying to protect ourselves from? Or what do we need to watch out for as we move into the plus sum? What do we want to watch out for? What do we want to pay attention to? We want to watch out and pay attention to the spaces that we give in which fear can grow. Yep, that's the thing. That's the very thing that messed up the children of Israel. It wasn't that God hadn't given it to them. It wasn't that he hadn't promised it to them. It wasn't that he hadn't provided it for them. It was their fear. It was the fear of 10 that allowed for them to threaten to kill the faith of 2, that it took a whole generation to die out. So many of us got to just navigate it. It's just life. To say that that you don't have fear or apprehension of certain things. Listen, we'd be delusional to say that we don't. But I think there's 3 areas that you got to watch. Let me say this. You have to watch to put yourself in a position where you do not allow for fear to grow. There are certain environments in where it grows nicely, just like if you were growing certain types of food, if you were creating an environment for different types of produce or plants to be able to grow, develop, and to thrive. Oh, there are spaces in which fear thrives. And a couple of things I want us to make sure that we talk about today in these spaces in which we're trying to make sure we protect ourselves from where fear can thrive. Because if we can prevent fear from thriving, digging in and developing roots, it puts us in a position where walking into the plus sum becomes a place in which we stay for transformation, miracles, destiny, and purpose. All right. So the first area we got to watch when it comes to fear. First area you got to watch is overthinking. That's the first indication that you're giving water, fertilizer, and tilling the land of fear is overthinking. Yeah. Overthinking gives you the ability to begin to ruminate or to extensively focus or think on something that you cannot change. Now, you say that you cannot change. The reason I say you cannot change is because the future in which you're anticipating cannot be changed by you while you're sitting there. So overthinking is the environment which happens while you continue to keep yourself in that space. Yep, it's like any of us have probably been on a plane. I know I've been on a plane a couple times where they said we're getting ready to go in to taxi in. And then at the last minute, they pull up and say, hold on, we can't go down just yet. We're not cleared to go down. Yeah, we're not cleared to go down just yet. And because we're not cleared to go down just yet, you got to still keep hovering. You still got to keep flying around. They still got to keep listening to the air traffic controller. They still got to make sure that everything is clear. And what happens is when we're still hovering, when we're still going around, it allows for us to continue to create, ruminate, focus, and begin to stress on something that has not transpired yet because you feel like I'm close to either starting or ending, but I'm still in the same spot. See, one of the things that we've created these nice labels over, I'm an overthinker, I'm a perfectionist. These are all cute ways to just say that I'm scared. Yep. So that's where fear gets a chance to be fertilized. Fear gets a chance to grow roots that it then begins to take years for you to uproot that weed because we're overthinking. And here's the craziness about overthinking is that in most cases, the 35 scenarios that you've thought about, the 100 scenarios that you've thought about, in most cases, you ain't got none of them right. Because when you actually get into action, the very thing that you were anticipating actually never happened. And then it breeds Not just fear, but the impatience that we have to make the next thing happen. Because what you've been doing, why are you impatient? Because you've been thinking about it forever. Why are you impatient? Because I'm supposed to be further than this by now. Why hasn't it just happened? Because you just spent the last 90 days, the last 2 years, the last 3 years thinking about how you're going to arrive in purpose, how you're going to make the vision of your mind the reality of your life, and then when you finally get started, you're impatient because it hasn't happened in 90 days. Just because you've been thinking about it don't mean you actually been working on it. So if we're going to put ourselves in a position to live in the plus sum, we have to watch out for the spaces in which we give fear to grow. So the very first thing that we got to be mindful of is our overthinking. One of the things that I try to do now, because I am a recovering overthinker, one decision at a time. I'm a recovering overthinker, one decision at a time. And one of the things that I've learned over the years to get me out of overthinking is if I thought about it twice, I need to do something about it. I don't even let myself get to 3 times. If I think about it twice, I got to do something about it. Because what happens, many of us know, overthinkers, it begins to antagonize us. It begins to erode at our self-esteem. And doubt begins to creep in. And all of a sudden, what we once were sure about, now we're not clear about. So the first spot, Sam, you're right. Pull the weeds of fear daily. Yep. Now again, if we're paying attention, all right, am I overthinking? Have I not taken action? What am I doing? The first place that fear can grow is overthinking. The second thing that happens with fear, and if we don't stop the overthinking, you're going to move to the next spot. You're going to move to isolation. You're going to move to isolation. Why is this second confluence of events, this next compounding effect, why is this so important? Because when you begin to overthink, what you do is you allow for yourself to stay isolated in your mind, isolated in your thoughts, isolated in your perspective. So in most cases, you're not asking for no help. You actually not taking in anybody else's advice, because what you're going to do, I'm going to figure it out on my own. I know I can get past this. All I got to do is just kind of think about it a little bit more, and I do it. And the enemy's greatest tactic and tool, and it's not new, is isolation. If I can get Eve by herself isolated, then I can get her to give up her promise. If I can get Samson isolated with Delilah, I'll give him to give up his strength. But oh, we know the beauty that in isolation, that Jesus showed us that even when he brought his friends with him and they went to sleep, that even in isolation we can overcome, because we can say, not my will, but let thy will be done. But in isolation is where we begin to be attacked. We begin to be antagonized about what's not happening or what could happen, because there's nobody else to come jump in and interrupt our thinking. Now, I know y'all prayer warriors and y'all believe this and everything else, but I can tell you this. The enemy been working a lot longer than you've been alive. So why are we going to isolate ourselves with a foe that's actually greater at his job than we are at ours? Yeah, so this space where I don't need any help, I got this. I don't want to let nobody in my business because they're going to judge me. That's exactly what the enemy wants you to do. Stay isolated. Because the longer you stay isolated, the longer you're going to overthink. Okay, let me say this. The very fact that I'm here, the very fact that I'm on Get Over the Hump, Wednesdays and Fridays at 7 a.m. Eastern, is because I pulled myself out of isolation. Some of you all might not remember this story, but I'll tell you, I used to do Instagram lives for about a year. And the only people that used to consistently show up on Instagram lives when I was doing them was myself and my wife. And there was a certain point I said, this is dumb. Why am I doing this? I can talk to her at the house. So I said, I'm not doing them. And when I said I'm not doing them, I said I'm not doing them again. Nope, not doing them again. Shout out to Deeper Than the Brand, led by Nikki Saunders and the squad. I jumped into this group called I2M. And in I2M, you get a chance to, it was called Impact to Monetization. So trying to figure out how do we monetize our voice? How do we thrive in this online community? And one of the beautiful and sweet souls that came out of that group was CJ is my realtor. And I remember we were actually in the first breakout group together. Didn't know this woman at all. And somewhere in there, she and I connected. The kindred of the spirits connected. And I remember our last night, it's the farewell, graduation, all this stuff. I get a text message from her. She say, you need to start going on live. I'm like, what? I'm not doing that. And I gave her all of what I just told y'all. I did it before. It didn't work. She said, I don't care what happened before. You are the voice of now, and you need to show up. Now, my isolation and my overthinking was, I did this before, it didn't work before. Why would I do it again and embarrass myself? I emotionally couldn't take nobody showing up, but just me and my household. I couldn't do it. But because I was sitting there in that isolation of my thinking, I would have been disconnected from the very benefits and beauty and growth that this community has provided me. But because I was willing to be transparent of what I was thinking and to be honest about why I was not going to do it, she was able to jump in and interrupt my thinking, get me out of my isolation to help push me into my plus sum and my purpose. Oh, I'm just telling you, people. Some of us need to go from stop being honest and be transparent. Because the honesty is about what people ask you. Transparency is about what you give people. And we need to be more forthright and giving of what we're thinking versus just saying, if you ask me the right question, I'll tell you the right answer. Because what that does is that allows for you to stay in overthinking, fear is breeding, and you stay isolated, and now it's growing. Oh, listen. If this is helping, do me a favor, put some fire and some letters in the chat. I'm just trying to make sure this plus sum, this promised land, that everywhere the sole of your foot treads, this space in which God has promised us, only happens if we can move into promise, move into the plus sum, move into the miracles, and not get stuck, stagnant in isolation, overthinking, which are breeding grounds for fear. Yeah. We have to position and put ourselves in the moment in which we move from overthinking and isolation and we get into motion so we can go inhabit what is ours. That's the plus sum. Sam, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. That I hope it is helping people interrupt their overthinking to get moving, to pull you out of your isolation. Because there are certain moments, I'll say this and we'll get to point number 3 and get out of here. There are certain moments that you got to be honest, where you are not qualified to talk to yourself. You are the least qualified to speak to your situation. But as long as you stay isolated, you're going to think you're the expert. Because all you know is what you know. All you see is what you see. But there are moments where we got to be honest. If you're in the midst of overthinking, that's a key indication you're not qualified to talk to yourself right now. You need some help. Yep, because you're moving into isolation and you're getting ready to get beat up by the enemy. And if you want to keep getting beat up by the enemy, stay in isolation. Because what does the scriptures teach us? 1 can chase 1,000, 2 can chase 10,000. I'm better when I'm paired with the right person. Okay. So let's keep pushing this and let's land this plane. Because this is all about us being able to position ourselves for the plus sum. The plus sum, again, is the space where miracles, destiny, transformation, and purpose thrive. It is that space. And one of the things that keeps us from walking into it, as we see through the example of the children of Israel, is fear. So we got to be able to watch the spaces in which we give fear the ability to breed and to grow. One of the places in which fear can breed and grow, we talked about it first, overthinking. Second thing that we got happens when you're in overthinking, you go into isolation. The third thing that happens when you go from overthinking into isolation, then you do one thing that is the most detrimental, one of the most detrimental things that allows for fear to grow, is there is no movement. You are not taking any action. Yep, I'm overthinking, so I don't know what to do. I'm isolated, so I continue to not know what to do. And the next result of that is that you're not moving forward. Now, what happens that the fact that you're not moving forward, why is that important? Yep, why is it happening that you're stuck? I love that, Shane. The reason why being stuck is so detrimental is because you don't have an opportunity to rewrite the current story. It continues to leave you in the past. I want you to see that. So what happens, fear grows. Watch that. Fear grows when you're overthinking, when you're isolated, and when you're stuck in the past. And when you're being stuck in the past, the only thing you have to think on is what you already know. So we're either reminiscing on things that were positive that actually have no relevance now, or we're reminiscing on things that are negative that continue to make our present negative. You're stuck. Yep. And the more you stay stuck, the more you stay isolated, because now you become embarrassed. I can't believe I'm not further than this. I can't believe I didn't move past this. I can't believe that they got me on this one again. So I'm stuck. I stay isolated and I keep overthinking. I'm overthinking about what they're going to think about me. I'm overthinking about how they're going to judge me. So I'm going to stay isolated because I don't want nobody in my business. I don't want nobody to have nothing to say because this ain't none of their business. They don't understand me and what I'm doing. So guess what? Then you don't make any progress. And then you get frustrated because you watch people who are making progress, who are not isolated, and who don't overthink. And they're not as good as you. They're not as talented as you. They actually don't have the vision that you have. But guess what? They are moving forward in a way because they didn't allow for themselves to be isolated. They're not stuck in the past. They're rewriting their future because they're not overthinking it. They're going to execute. I just want to make sure that y'all see these spaces. I just want to make us aware of the places in which fear gets a chance to grow. Yep, it starts with overthinking. And then it moves you into isolation. And the more that you're isolated, trying to figure it out on your own and overthinking, it keeps you stuck. Here's what I'm going to say. Let's see where we at real quick. Do me a favor, put a 1 in the chat if you are from a place where it snows. Yep, snow, the white stuff hits the ground. Put a 1 in the chat if you're from a place where it snows. Shane, you and Shakar, y'all funny. Put a 1 in the chat if you're from a place where it snows. What up, TK? Come on. Yeah, here we go. Yep, I see you. I see these ones. Yep, from a place where it snows. And see, here's what we know about snow. Is that when you look at it through your window, it's beautiful. It looks like a nice snow globe. And this is all pretty. And look at this. And it looks like a scene in a movie. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. All this wonderful stuff. Postcards and all of that. But one of the most horrible, at times, things to do is to drive in snow. And at some point, if you've driven in snow, you have had to figure out how to get unstuck about being in some snow. Maybe you messed up the one rule is you got to fight in the wheel. So you fool around and spun out and hit something. Maybe you fool around and slid because you slammed on the brakes as opposed to either letting it coast or pumping the brakes. Or you fooled around and maybe you parked and it wasn't that much snow and you come back out and now your car is buried in snow and now you what? Stuck. You can't get out. Nothing exposes the treads of your tires than being stuck in some snow. You can't reverse it and drive it. You can't park it. You can't rock it enough to get out if you got bad tires. If you ain't got no treads on your tires where them things is bald, where they can't grip the ground, they can't grip the snow, oh, you getting ready to burn all the rubber off them tires. Because you stuck. And the more you stay stuck and the more you keep spinning, the more deeper you get into the hole, the harder and the more frustrated you become. And now you're sitting there like, I got to get home, but I can't go anywhere because I don't have the what? The right equipment to get me out. So now, and all the stuff you've been trying to do, rocking back and forth and trying to be patient and praying and letting it go, you actually got to do one thing that people hate. And when it's snowing like that, they're usually super busy. You got to call AAA. You got to call roadside assistance. And instead of being able to get out on your own, you got to sit and wait. So now you're sitting and waiting and shaming yourself on the fact that I knew I was supposed to get these tires done, but the kids had to do this. And I knew I was supposed to get that done, and I knew better. And I said I was supposed to. And I said I was going to do that. So now we move from overthinking it, trying to rock in and out, isolated now because we can't get ourselves out the hole because we don't have the right equipment. And now we calling for help, and we frustrated that we calling for help, that instead of seeing help as an asset, we see it as a detriment or an indictment to our character. And some of us, because we are allowing for fear to take its roots, you didn't even know that you done worn out the tread on your tires. You don't even know that you can't get out of that hole that you in right now. All you're doing is looking at the beauty and the possibilities of what's around you. And now that you're ready to go because you're done overthinking, you don't realize that you actually can't get out. Don't get stuck, people. Because getting stuck can be avoided if we interrupt our overthinking. Yeah. We keep ourselves connected so we're not isolated. Because when you keep yourself from being isolated, you always have the right tires on the car. You always have the right tools and equipment that will get you out of places where you're stuck. But when you isolate yourself, you allow for your thinking, your tools and your resources to become antiquated, which allows for you to be in a position you didn't anticipate. So if y'all with me, I just need a few people to put plus some in the chat. Because we're moving into the plus some. Because we're not allowing ourselves to be stuck in the past. Stuck in overthinking. Stuck in isolation. We're not doing it. We're going into the plus some. So we're not going to allow for the places which fear can actually grow and develop weeds. Yep, you see what Shane put there? Plus some. We're going into the plus some. And the only way we're going to the plus some is we got to kill fear. And we got to be able to expose the areas in which fear likes to grow. In our overthinking, in our isolation, and in the places in which we're stuck. The moment you identify that you're stuck, just go get connected. Get out of isolation. So then you don't have to overthink, because then somebody's going to help you be able to get yourself out of overthinking and get you into execution. You see this? The moment I'm overthinking, bring somebody in. Let's pattern interrupt. You might see something that I don't see. Yep. This one is simple. You want to avoid overthinking and you want to avoid being stuck. The remedy and the antidote to both of those is connection. It's connection. The one thing I want you all to be able to do between now and Friday, I just want you to be honest about where you are stuck. I just want you, I want you to be honest about where you're stuck. And based on where you're stuck, what do you need to connect to or reconnect to that would allow for you to be able to move forward one step closer this week into your plus sum, into the place that God has already had for you, into the place that's easy, into the place that's purposeful, in the place that's excellent, into the place in which you achieve, into the place in which now people get a chance to see. Let your light so shine before men that they see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. They get a chance to say, I don't know how you did it. And you get a chance to be able to shine light on the very one who did it through you. Listen, if this has been helpful, I saw the plus sums. Put some fire and some laughs in the chat. We're going to go and land this plane and get up out of here. I just want to make sure we not giving, the scriptures say, make no room for the enemy. And one of the rooms for the enemy that we invite them into, we make the bed up real nice so they can put their feet up on the table. We fix them their favorite drink, make them their favorite meal, do all that stuff. It's fear. And we not, no room. We not doing it. Nope. Not on my watch. Nope. We not doing it in overthinking. we not doing it in isolation. And we not doing it in being stuck by not making progress. Because we get a chance to rewrite our story. And the one thing I want y'all to be able to do is just get connected. That's it. Get connected. So here's the thing. I know one place in which people are getting connected, and I wasn't trying to do this, but the segue is here, so I'm about to segue into it. Shout out to Shane. Shout out to Coach Nicole. Shout out to Lisa. Shout out to my mama. They have made a decision to be connected. They have made a decision to continue to keep moving into the plus sum. How do I know that they made that decision? Because they were one of the first people to purchase their tickets for the VIP experience for VROS, October the 4th and the 5th in Brandywine, Maryland. We're going to be there. And I am excited. I am excited about me being able to be connected to these women. Fellas, I don't know where y'all at now. I told y'all, if y'all just want me to have a women's conference, I can have a women's conference. The speakers are still going to be fire. I'm just saying. The speakers are still going to be fire, but fellas, if y'all just want me to have a women's conference, we can have a women's conference. I can have a women's conference. But I believe that this just isn't for the women. This just isn't for the ladies. Fellas, we need to connect. We need to get ourselves in the room, whether it's VIP or it's the general admission experience. I promise we got surprises. We just added something else to the docket that I believe is going to be amazing and transformative for all that make the decision that October the 4th and the 5th is the place where they need to be. I am tired of being isolated in my thinking. I'm tired of overthinking things that are not supposed to be that hard. And I'm tired of being stuck because there's a hero inside of me. There's something inside of me that won't let me quit. And I need to be around the same people that believe that they are to leave and live a dream, that their dreams are meant to live beyond this moment that they're in. I need to be there. That's October the 4th and the 5th. If you believe that this is your space, if you believe that getting connected with this group of heroes that are determined to leave the world a better place in which they found it, you can click the link in the bio. I'm not going to take it personal. You can leave me now. Go purchase your ticket, get in the room, because I'm telling you, you don't want to miss October the 4th and the 5th. People, we got a few days left, and look like we're going to miss this goal of blowing this newsletter up to 300 people. We're still currently at like 190 subscribers for the newsletter that drops every Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern. We had a goal for 300. We still got a chance, but I need your help. If the VROS newsletter has been something that has been blessing you, that has been a benefit to you, then all I'm going to tell you is you just each one reach one. That's all I'm going to say. Each one reach one. If we get each one to reach one, we easily blow past that 300 number and we take this thing to the next level. Yep. So I need your help. Let's blow the newsletter up. Let's see if we can hit this goal in the last few days that we got left, because the end of the month is actually Friday. Just so in case you didn't know, the end of May is Friday. And then last, but definitely not least, June the 20th, we're doing what we call the Golden Hour. It's a free event. That's what I say. The last two things I'm going to talk to you about are free. The only thing it's going to cost you is some time and your email address. So the golden hour, June the 20th. It is a time in which we actually have a more curated, intimate conversation for 1 hour on a Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. And when I tell you the golden hour has been a blessing, it's been a blessing for us to be able to understand the impact of the moment that we're currently in that allows for us to be able to move forward in such intentional and specific ways that allows for us to end up in the plus sum where God had always intended for us to be. So, June the 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern, if you have not already registered, just go click the link in the bio, put your email address in there, and we look forward to seeing you then. We're going to talk about self-image. Because that's one of the places in which keeps us out of the plus sum or keeps us from thriving in the plus sum is how we see ourselves. And I want to be able to just kind of walk us through that night, that evening, a little bit closer for us to begin to see ourselves as God sees us. Therefore, we show up in the world as he had always intended for us to show up. So those are the three things I want to talk about. Wanted to make sure that we got as we move ourselves to understand that we won't let it live. Is that we're going to steward what we have around us. And that's the three environments that we can protect. We can protect our thinking, to not overthink. We got to make sure that we protect our isolation so we stay connected. And we got to make sure that we're in movement, that we don't get stuck. Because those are three places in which fear actually breathes, lives, grows roots, and is very difficult to pull up. And I believe that there's any antidote. I believe there's three antidotes currently right now to those things that I'm making available. One, you can join us October the 4th and the 5th in Brandywine, Maryland at VROS. I promise, being connected to that group of people that's already put their investment into themselves on the table to say, I'm coming. I'm looking to be blessed. I know I'll be better for the experience because there's a hero inside of me that needs to live and leave a dream because I'm determined to leave the world a better place in which I found it. Click the link in the bio and join us. Second thing, you might say, Aaron, I don't know about it. I'm still trying to figure it out. Cool. Do you need to just be a part of the newsletter? Yep, it's free. It comes straight to your inbox. It is non-invasive, straight to your inbox every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. Your choice. Or you can come back to the golden hour. You go to the golden hour, June the 20th. Make sure you come join us. We're talking through self-image. And it's a moment that is very critical for the time that we're in, that we don't need to add anything to it. We just need to understand it so we can move forward. Listen, good people. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all as we are here on location. And I will see you Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. Bring somebody with you. Let's make this a movement of people who get up early as they prepare for their days, prepare for their occupations, to go make sure, listen to me, to go make sure that everybody that's in their circle is interrupted in their thinking. They're not giving fear a place to grow. And you can do it right here on Get Over the Hump every Wednesday and Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. And so until Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern, listen, I love y'all. And as you are getting reconnected, as you're stopping the process of overthinking, and as you're getting into motion and getting unstuck, I want you to do me one thing. Extend yourself some grace. And remember this. Just because you started out on this journey to get better, it doesn't mean that you weren't already good. So until Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern, I'll see you then.